What is up, everyone? I'm David Amati here with Phil Hornshaw, and we're here to talk about Destiny 2. But not just Destiny 2. Specifically, we want to break down what the creative director, Luke Smith, has been talking about. He's been slowly releasing this kind of like a reflection piece. He's been dropping some really wordy essays for the last, 3 days. There's been one every day, and he's been dropping a lot of interesting tidbits, I have to say.
Right.
There are definitely a lot of changes in Armor 2.0, as kind of dictated by Luke Smith on his second blog post. But the third one, the one that released on Friday, kind of goes a bit into damage and kind of dealing with buffs, debuffs, and stacking rules, things that a lot of raid teams are very well familiar with. But he also goes into Crucible, and I kind of want to focus a little bit on Crucible here, because I feel like Crucible is always plays second fiddle to Destiny's priority in their sandbox with the PvE experience, right?
Right.
You have so many more activities like strikes and patrols and nightfalls and raids and now dungeons and things like that. And Crucible got very streamlined in D2, where they almost went this Overwatch route, where they just went, here's a quick play, and then here's a competitive list, and there's different game modes. Yeah, and we'll see you in a year, right? We'll give you Trials of the Nine, and Trials of the Nine will disappear, and we won't talk about that. But at least we got some answers. One of the things that made me sad was it seems like Luke Smith concurred that Trials of the Nine will continue to be on hiatus indefinitely until they can try to figure out what they really want out of that, which, fair is fair.
I feel like the subtext of this part of the thing is he emphasizes 9. He makes like a joke about 3v3 elimination. When they've run it through the Crucible labs a little bit more, it might find a warmer home.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, Mercury, got it.
Oh, yeah. So, okay, I see.
So Lighthouse sounds like it's coming back eventually. But, that's cool. Like, I've never been good at Trials. But
literally only won once on Xbox. But Trials of Osiris, I had a group of friends that we took it, fairly seriously, and we kind of made it through. But so they ended up changing one thing, I think, that is probably the most important in Crucible and how they're changing it, and it's supers. They admitted that they have swung the pendulum a little bit too far in the way of the insane, and they want to find that middle ground again, specifically with roaming supers. But it's nice that they don't seem to be nerfing the roaming supers in terms of what they do. It's just easier to kill them if you're on the receiving end. Which is fair.
Fair, please.
I think that's very fair. I mean, golden guns are already easy to kill if they don't get you first, because they don't get any damage resistance.
Right.
I've popped my goldie before, missed some really bad shots that I shouldn't have missed, and I get punished for it, right? Yeah. Which, as it should be. It shouldn't just be this like invulnerable moment where you can just curb stomp someone just because you happen to save your super for like a choke point or a control zone or something.
I have a tendency to pop mine like around a corner.
And then no one's there.
No one's there, and then killed by the other guy that you forgot about.
I know that feeling.
Well, I don't know why I'm so bad at it. That's why I run Blade Barrage, because it's much harder to screw up.
Yeah, sure. One other thing that they're changing that's pretty important, I think, in how Destiny 2 operates, but Destiny 1 fans will definitely remember it, is heavy ammo is going to be communal. Everyone can surround that one heavy brick, someone can activate it, and everyone gets their heavy. Although it's going to be, you don't get as much ammo, I think. They're kind of reducing it.
Right. They're bringing heavy down a little bit,
right,
so that you're not going to just like wall up everybody with your hammerhead. And they're changing it a little bit. It's not going to be like Destiny 1 where ammo appears in your pocket when you're nearby.
Right.
It sounds like you have to go.
You have to interact,
you
right?
You have to click it as well.
Totally.
Yeah, exactly. So it'll still be chilling there, even if one of your teammates does it. So you'll have a chance, but you have to be like on the ball about it.
Within reasonable distance.
Yeah, exactly.
So I kind of like that sort of mayhem-ish approach to it, and I do think that Communal Heavy is going to be a good thing, because beforehand, you would have what? You would have like one player not even playing anymore and just like waiting by Heavy for like 45 seconds.
Yeah.
Just because they wanted, I don't know, maybe they were doing bad and they needed their hammerhead to kind of get like a streak or something.
So either people totally ignore it and one guy wanders up and gets truth ammo, or everybody flocks there all the time and it just becomes a weak point on the map.
Right.
Where you're not doing tactics, you're not really thinking about what the hell you're doing, you're just charging in there.
Yeah, absolutely. And so they're not only changing the way that the heavy ammo economy works, and they're not only changing the fact that Trials is still not making a comeback, but they're changing the way that you even kind of load into Crucible. Those playlists are gone. The quick play and comp are now gone, and it seems like it might be more similar to how they've removed the quick play and competitive notes from the director, but they have added like a classic mix, right? And competitive now, it's no longer 4v4. It's now back to 3v3, and it ends up being specifically survival. Just because they got rid of 4v4 from the regular thing, that doesn't mean it's gone entirely. It's going to be like on a weekly rotation.
6v6 too, it sounds like. For the most part, 6v6 is kind of being weeded out of this a little bit. And I have your weekly 6v6 to bring those modes back, and then Control 6v6, like the default version of Destiny 2 PvP. is going to be its own thing. Like that's going to be the way Luke explains it here is that when you look at Crucible and you've never played Destiny before, 6v6 control is the one you go play, and that's where you learn in.
Right, but one thing also, they've removed some underperforming maps from matchmaking.
What does that mean?
What does that mean? Which maps were underperforming?
How do maps underperform?
Yeah, how do they underperform, right?
I don't
because
understand.
isn't it random? Like, how do they?
Well, I mean, like, so they don't like they're looking probably at the heat maps and the way engagements work and figuring out like, okay, this is designed in a way that's not being utilized. With changes to supers and changes to heavy ammo and stuff, like that's probably all the same line of thinking, right? To like get maps to be more utilized in different ways and provide you different tactics and stuff.
So we have a lot of good stuff that we were able to talk about in regards to power changes, super changes, Crucible changes. Let us know in the comments what you're excited to see and what you're hoping to find out more for Shadowkeep, and stay tuned to GameSpot for all the news, reviews, and gameplay videos on Destiny 2 Shadowkeep. Thanks, guys.